Yeah, thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Very excited about this class. We literally just got our one more signature just in with Javon Brown, linebacker from St. Thomas Aquinas. Another highly recruited guy, inside backer that we felt, that we really hit another area of need. So very happy to. I don't think you guys have Jamont's information in front of you, but he just signed the papers and got it in. So I think that makes 22 for us at this point with this class. 22 signatures we have at this point. Do anticipate continuing to work throughout the day to try to get a couple more, maybe the next couple days. We may have a couple more announcements with some good news, and also we'll continue to recruit after the new year with the January recruiting period. But 22 in the vote right now. That includes 6 transfers, so 16 high school players, 9 on offense, 7 on defense, 6 in-state players, if you count the 2 transfers that are coming back. So happy about that, and really pleased with the way we finished. Obviously, with being able to announce some of it last night, you see the additions of some of the transfers that added to this really strong class. If you look at us through this year, some people may have been a little concerned. I really wasn't. I mean, we were working hard to try to finish as strong as we could, but really if you look at, and we don't always look at that, but y'all do, if you look at average star ranking, I mean, we're really pretty high, pretty strong, top 20 nationally. We just were needing to address specific areas in the transfer portal and wanted to make sure we had room for some of that. But it always starts with the high school guys, and very pleased with the 16 players that we signed. Really feel like we hit all areas of need. We hit some big, strong guys, some physical guys on the offensive line, 3 more great playmakers at the wide receiver position, another talented tight end, and really hit some areas of needs out of high school in the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, much the same. I just feel very good with the players that we signed. Really, we went really all over the place where we signed from Alabama, Ray Davis, if you look at Ray's from California, but Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Illinois, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee, with another great wideout out of Tennessee. So I feel like our staff did a good job finishing extremely strong. It's a very hectic time, as you all can imagine. We've touched on it briefly with meeting with your players, getting ready for bowl games, re-recruiting or retaining the team that you have, getting the additions that we got this morning, and then continuing to recruit, and had practice this morning, and the players have a little bit of a well-deserved break coming up starting this afternoon. So I'll be glad to answer any questions about specific players. But again, I know our Kentucky football team got better today with the addition of the nucleus of our guys from high school, and obviously the transfers, and really headlined by Devin Leary, a guy that was highly sought after. Anybody that was in the quarterback market, and I mean anybody and everybody that was in the quarterback market was after him. So we really feel like we hit a home run with him, and again, I've told you I feel confident with the quarterbacks that we have on campus, but this gives you a 1-year transfer free agent, if you will, to come in for a year and really bridge that gap and let our guys continue to grow, the quarterbacks that we have on campus. I'm excited to watch them play in this game. They really worked hard and are doing some good things, and I'm excited to watch them. But with Devin, it brings in a proven guy with a lot of snaps under his belt with the playmakers that we have in place. That's a really big get for us. Obviously, hit some areas of need with offensive line in the transfer portal that was really important for us. The running back gives us another, guy that kind of fits our mold of running backs in Ray. And so that was really good. And then of course defensive backs, we needed some corners, and really feel like we hit some home runs there as well. So I'll be glad to open up for questions at this point.
Both Leary and Cox's seasons ended with injuries. Do you anticipate they'll be able to participate in spring practice?
I do. To what extent or how, much they'll go, we'll see, but yes, they will be clear.
Vince mentioned the other day that other schools tried to use that you don't have a coordinator right now against you in the process. So what was the pitch to Devin to get him to kind of sign on as you were in this transition?
We'll keep that. That's very creative, John. you know better than that. I think you know me a little better than that, but it was a good try. Yeah, I think you know what direction I want to be and the clarity that I want to have at that, at the right moment. Maybe we'll have that. And I believe the transfers know very clearly what direction I want to go, and we're going to go with this offense. So,
Mark, now that you've gotten to this point, has juggling the transfer portal along with the recruiting trail been as hectic as you expected? Has anything been easier for you?
It's extremely challenging to say the least. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but this right here, it's not sustainable. It's just clearly not. And I think any and all, head coaches will say that in some form or fashion. And so we'll see where it goes. Hopefully we'll all get together and find some common ground and some ways to help everybody that's involved.
You had a lot of success with Will coming from the portal. A lot of people are going to want to compare Devin and Will. Just how do they compare? How are they different? What's the senior game?
Yeah, as well when I say it's really not fair to compare people. I mean, you have two talented players, two very good players, different situations the way they were, came in. With Will coming in as primarily used as a running quarterback and not really seen him throw that much, and so Will came in and really proved himself that first year. With Devin, he has quite a few more snaps on tape, so much different in that aspect. Devin has clearly more experience and more snaps under his belt, so they're already different in that area. They're both very good players, very talented in their own right, and that's really that's all I can say at this point.
For the high school guys, you were able to bring in some more receivers to help him. The freshman made some impact this year. Do you anticipate any of these guys you're bringing in to make an impact?
I do, and I feel like the guys that we have, some of the guys that we had that redshirt this year, we're gonna play them in this game, and so Jordan Anthony and Brandon White, it'd be good to see those guys play a little bit. Obviously, DeKel's been coming on, but we have some guys that are ready, to make the next step, but we definitely needed some depth, and these are the type of high school receivers that definitely can come in and play.
Coach, we talked with your new running back coach the other day, and he said there was conversations about maybe him coming on a little later than he did. How important was it when recruiting these transfers and some of these high school kids, even though he came in late, to just bring him in when you did?
I wanted to bring him in when I did, but and another reason I wanted to lock him down, I wanted to get him, and so I wanted to make sure I got that done and got him on board, and he's been anxious and ready to go and really stepped in, and you can see how charismatic he is and how good of a recruiter he is right away just from the visits I've been with him, and so he's done a really good job.
Mark, you referred to the border-to-border aspect of this group of players. Is that maybe not a statement, but does that speak to the new status of UK football, or is it just a coincidence?
It is what it is. I think we've talked about it from where we're located. I try to base within a 6-hour radius of here, but our footprint expands a little bit. We've gotten some exposure the past 3, 4, 5 years, and are able to reach more places. And we're just in one of those geographic locations that you have to go to. You have to go, a lot of different areas.
Mark, with Ray Davis, I guess important was it to get not only a back with experience, maybe a little bit of bigger back, power back.
Yeah.
Losing Chris, you're going to need that moving forward.
Definitely important. I mean, you just look at Ray, and he kind of fits that mold of what we've been, and how you need to have that tough, strong, physical guy. But we also wanted some dynamic playmakers as well, and so we're still working at that position, and hopefully sign a very explosive dynamic high school guy as well, so we'll work that for more time. But it was very important with Ray. I think he's another guy that obviously did very well against us. He's proven player in the SEC, and so you know, it's been a great addition, and he's got a very charismatic personality, very strong young man on and off the field, and so we're grateful to have him.
Mark, what'd you see from Cox when you guys played them, and how big was that in deciding to
It
pursue?
was big, just a big, athletic guy. I mean, you know, again, arguably one of the, you know, very talented tackles in there. We know we needed a tackle. And so, you know, I think that was a real important get for us. And, you know, you just saw length, you saw athleticism, and another great addition.
Wasn't Childress's ability to play this year when they probably weren't necessarily thought of in the spring? You've done a good job of getting those guys ready. What do you like about Stewart and England coming in to play those spots?
Yeah, I think they're both just good football players, versatile guys. I like guys that are versatile, intelligent, you know, you know, they have length, they have speed. So I just think they both bring a lot of versatility.
You hadn't been to South Florida since Eddie first got there, and now you go get Brown. I guess what's the thinking behind?
Yeah, I just felt like we needed to get back in there. We had success, as you know, early on in that, and then, you know, without trying to say anything negative about, you know, but we maybe a few guys didn't work out, and so we kind of got away from it for a minute. With Mike coming on board, you know, he got a little stretched out. He went all the way from, you know, the west side, trying to cover the whole state, and that's pretty hard to do. You get spread out, but he got in front of a lot of people. And getting a guy out of St. Thomas, out of South Florida, is very important, especially a very talented player in an area, you know, a guy that we needed. So I think it was really good for us to get back in there. You know, the athletes that you can get out of Florida. The thing about Florida players is there's so many of them that a lot of them are going to travel.
Mark, Kamari Anderson, what are your impressions of him, and how gratifying is it? You lost an assistant that was very tied to the city of Detroit, but yet you guys are still able to, you know, every year seem like you get a good player out of Detroit.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep that pipeline going. You know, very happy with Kamari. I think he's a very athletic guy, and, you know, just a big time tight end, and so, you know, we're excited to get him.
Mark, back to the secondary, Jason Dunn was one of those defensive back additions, I guess, length like you're talking about. Is the plan to maybe play him at corner, or do you want to start him at safety? What's
No,
your
the plan is to play in the corner right now, and that's, you know, I think that's where we need, you know, we have an area of need, and he's a guy with very good top end speed and some length, and so, again, he's a guy that's versatile though.
We're talking about the secondary. The way the game is played now is just a situation where you can't have enough of those guys.
It is.
You have to have
It
depth at
is.
those positions.
It is, and you look at certain teams, and you look at, you know, some teams in our league, and you know, you have to be able to match up with some of that speed and guys that are spreading you out and you know, putting stress on you to win one-on-one. So yes, I think it's very important to continue to build the secondary.
Mark, you talked about addressing needs in the transfer portal along with these high school guys. Do you feel like you guys have addressed those needs, or as other guys come in and different things like that, you may have to go for a few more guys? You kind of like where you stand on the transfer
I think
portal?
we did. I think we did a pretty solid job with what we were aiming for in the portal. So I feel pretty good about that. It's not to say that you wouldn't take more, you know.
Mark, what are your expectations for Tanner Bowles?
I think, again, a guy with experience, you know, that's been in a great program, that's from in-state, and it's a big, strong guy, and he's excited to come back home and play, and so we welcome him back and excited about, you know, bringing him in. I think, again, he fits kind of what we've been, you know, and just that physical, tough guy, and, you know, again, he's been coached well and, you know, and been in that program, and so we're excited.
You envision him as a guard?
We do. Yep.
Mark Porter's been kind of committed to you all for a long time. You kind of get lost in the shuffle here coming up. What about him
Yeah.
is attractive? What made him such a highly ranked prospect?
It's a good point, because you kind of, you know, Shamar's been so solid with us, you know, there's no drama, and so he kind of sometimes gets lost in the media drama, but Shamar's a great young man, great family, extremely solid, been so solid with us, and can play at so many different places. Again, big, strong, serious, you know, player. You know, anticipate he's the type of young man that can come in and have an impact early.
Mark, you had the 3 freshmen this year getting recognition receivers and Deion last year, Eli. How does that help you on the recruiting trail when you have kids who are doing so well? I know everybody can't do that, but
Yeah.
when they're able to make an impact so early.
Yeah, and you never know how that's going to go. You covered it long enough to know that we used to have to play freshmen just because we just didn't have guys that could play. Now you have guys that are coming in that are just too good to keep off the field. And again, that's the truth. As you're recruiting somebody, it proves to them that if you're the best player, that you're going to play. And we have to do that, and the competition's open, and if guys are confident enough in themselves and know that they can come in and compete, it shows and proves to them if they are the best player, they're going to be on the field and they're going to play.
Mark, obviously you had a bunch of turnover at linebacker this offseason. How does Grant Godfrey kind of fit into that?
Yeah, Grant's another guy that you kind of take for granted because, again, unbelievable family, so solid, been so solid to us that you just so appreciate, these guys, and they've all been that way. There's been very little drama in this class, and I appreciate all of them for that. They've been very loyal to us and very, very strong, but Grant is such a good football player. Great length, great upside. Again, he's a guy that you definitely see it outside backer, but certainly could probably play inside as well. And we've had some of those guys, and Jamin Davis that had that kind of length, that played some outside, played inside, but very talented player and just a strong young man and great addition.
There was some coaches that were coming in and trying to get Nasir Addison late in the process, but he's not ranked very high, and a lot of them see him as a receiver. What do you all see in his?
Yeah, I'm very excited about him. Just great length, very strong, competitor, versatile. I love guys that can play receiver. I mean, if you're going to coach corners, you want them to be able to catch and run and judge the ball and all those things too. So Nasir is again versatile, but good length and really good top end. And I like how competitive he is.
Mark Wood from just down the road in Richmond, really intriguing guy with his frame and kind of what he projects at long term.
Yeah, just great length, great talent, and very good player. And so just a guy that you want to come in and develop.
What did Ty Bryant get out of that extra year of high school reclassifying and playing?
I think just confidence, size. He just looks really good out there, really, really comfortable. Just watching the state championship game and watch the way he moves around, and just, he's playing in a state championship game here, and it just, I think the confidence, he belongs, and I think he'll come right in here, and it won't be a big transition for him.
Mark, Tommy Ziesmer is not as tall as some of the defensive linemen you recruit. What do you all like about him? And after the state championship game, is he going to be your goal line running?
Yeah, maybe. Tommy, what we like about him, the thing that jumps off the tape at you is how active he is and how hard he plays, and he just has that knack for making plays. So I think you could overcome that. I think we have a good balance. I think it's very clear that we want some length, but that doesn't mean it's the end all be all. When you got a player like him that could make plays and be as active as he is, that there's a good mixture there.
Mark, you said a little earlier, players now know more of what you're about than you did early on. Maybe you're open to more players listening to you. But does that change what you look for in a player? Is it any different now than it was when you first got here?
Well, I think clearly if you think it, the talent threshold, it always has to be what we want it to be to go into the SEC. And as we keep on competing and, building the program, I think maybe that talent threshold we try to keep on elevating. And I believe we've done that. And, when, you look at classes and, you put it together and, when it's all said and done, if you get some impact guys like we did a year ago, it's not always the highly ranked guys, but when you get some impact guys out of that, that's how you build a program, just stacking it. With this portal, it is a different world right now. You're going to lose some, you're going to gain some, but it helps you address specific needs. And again, I feel very confident that we hit on some areas of some proven players that we needed some help.
Mark, when you were looking for a new running backs coach, you mentioned dynamic recruiter was one of the big things and part of that. Do you have an area where Boulware is expected to kind of focus?
Yeah, I'm not prepared to answer that right now. I want to contradict myself on that because I've quite honestly been overwhelmed. But but we'll vary. But Jay is a guy that can go a lot of different places. He really is. He's a seasoned vet that can adapt and really recruit anywhere.
Mark, it seemed like a whole lot of schools came after Kobe Keenum.
Mhm.
How big was it to hold on to him, and what do you see for his future?
Yeah, I was very excited about Kobe and keeping him. You know, a lot of people, when you get down there into the deep south and, you know, things happen and, you know, a lot of people were coming after him, but he's, you know, really appreciate the loyalty that he has shown and sticking with us because it was an area of need. And again, it fits that mentality that we want, continue to get back to being a very physical offensive line. And he certainly fits that mold.
You see any Stenberg in him?
I hope so. I know they wear boots and they like to hunt.
Mark, yesterday Vince said he felt sorry for you because you were being pulled in so many different directions and had to make all those in-home visits and everything. And what's that process like for you?
It's not the holiday that you guys are having, but that's okay. You know, it is what it is, and it's a busy time, very hectic from the end of the year to right now to today. You know, so very busy time, and looking forward to a day or two off. To be honest with you, spend some time with my kids, and but having the surgery really didn't help. See me out of the sling. Don't tell Doc Johnson; he'll be pissed. But you know, really, that didn't help. But it's all good. I mean, it's a busy time for everybody. You know, I think that needs to be readdressed. And I was all for early signing period, and I still like it in some ways. But I think with the portal and bowl games and, you know, managing your roster and everything, just there's a lot of things we need to address and kind of get on the same page because it's kind of chaotic.
You mean just the calendar or?
All the coaches and, you know, whether it's Power 5, where the calendar, just looking at how
You don't
everything
want to do
falls.
away with it though, right?
Oh, no, I mean, or adjust it, you know, I don't
Yeah.
know. Again, I don't have all the answers. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm holding on to my own, you know what? You know,
Well, you know, I mentioned that because Rich Brooks was a huge proponent, but that was pre-portal, so.
And that's what I'm saying, it just, things are adjusting,
Yeah.
things are changing. I was in favor, I was voting for the early signing period, but I think now, this month is so crazy. I don't know, I think we gotta just get together and have some great leadership and some discussions about how to improve this process.
Do you get the sense that other coaches feel the same way?
I think a lot, you know, I can't speak for everybody, I know there's many coaches that I talk to, yes, that feel the same.
Coach, you looks like you're gonna have around 7 guys that, of the high school guys coming in early, in release. We saw guys really benefiting that in the past. Just how much does it help these guys when they get to come in early and get part of the spring stuff?
I think it very much does. However, well, a couple things. I think, you know, over time, I'm in favor of that now, you know what I mean? Because I think these kids are very mature. We have systems in place. We keep an eye on them. They get ahead in school. For us, the transition, it's a much easier transition in the spring than it is in the fall. It's extremely difficult in the fall. Even if they come in the spring, that doesn't mean the fall is going to be easy for them. The first fall they go through is very difficult, it's challenging, no matter where you're at. But as far as playing time, I think we've proven that even if they come in the summer, if they're good enough and can have the impact, they'll work their way on the field. So I think it helps. It benefits them in a lot of ways. It certainly helps us in our depth and getting them ready. A guy like Dane, you know, the impact that he had, but then you look at Barry on the other side and he didn't come in, you know what I mean? So both of them had a great impact. One came in the spring and one came in the summer.
Mark, obviously Jeff Brown came in late to Louisville, he's a big guy with Louisville history and so forth. Does it change that dynamic in recruiting, you think, at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, Jeff, as I said, one brief conference or call I had or whatever, they asked about my, you know, and I just said it's kind of tough because I like Jeff. and not that I didn't like Coach Satterfield, I just really didn't know him very well. And but you know, Coach Brown, he'll do a really good job. I mean, obviously great connections to the state, you know, strong impact in Louisville, and you know, he's a good coach and a good person, so they'll do very well, and we'll continue to battle, you know, with him and them and everybody else.
Well, we had a bunch of transfer quarterbacks really highly recruited guys interested in you.
We
What
did.
separated Gary from the pack?
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of guys interested, and you know, a couple things. I think number one, you know, with Devin having 1 year, you know, it kind of shows to the quarterbacks that you have on campus that we believe in you. You know, that you're going to be, you know, have a bright future. And you know, with Devin, you know, I think just, you know, with the quarterback position, sometimes you're splitting hairs, you know, whether it's your system or what's going on. You know, there's some very talented guys out there. We were fortunate that so many were interested in us. And, you know, for myself even, that gets to be a little bit of an awkward situation because I have such respect for those guys. And there's so many really good players and they had really high interest in us. You had to juggle that. And, as I hope you all feel, I really try to be very honest and transparent, you know what I mean, with everybody, and that gets tough in that situation, in that free agency, if you will.
What was that sense of, what was that feeling like when you did answer that big unknown question you found out that you was coming here?
How did it feel?
Yeah.
Did you say? Well, I mean, it felt really good. I felt relieved. We felt confident, you know, that he was high on us. But he still had another visit to make, and he was very strong. He was very much, as I've mentioned to different guys before, I mentioned that with Josh Pascal, very much like what he said he did. You know, the process that he went through he followed through it to a T. You know, very thorough, you know, and I respect that. And I like the way he went through it. He wanted to go and visit, wanted to go home, wanted to sit down, look his parents in the eye, to have a conversation, and then call me. And that's exactly what he did. And so I always have great appreciation for people as detailed and as thorough and kind of, you know, very, very much process orientated as he is. And he's already on football, and I mean, he's getting after it. So he's the type of guy you're looking for.
Are those that kind of characteristics you're describing there? You know, the new quarterback has to come over and kind of win the locker room. I think you all talked about that, but do you see like Devin potentially coming over and doing that and becoming a leader for you all pretty early?
I think you could see that, and you could see it happening very easily, and again, much like Will, authentic, not forced. He's just one of those guys. He's a dude. You know, he's one of the guys that he very, very much you could see him being a great fit. And it happens, you know, easily. And I appreciate our football team because they've always been very accepting. And it's a new world now. I think we all understand with the portal that things, you know, I mean, rosters change much more dramatically than they have in the past. But I think our team has always been that way, you know, going all the way back to Courtney, you know, becoming a captain after a short amount of time in transferring in. And I think our team is very good that way. And I appreciate our team and, you know, again, the way they handle things and accept guys coming in. They know there's going to be great competition, but they want our team better and do a good job of that transition with transfers.
Mark, once you get a recruit on campus, when he's still thinking about it, who are the guys you like to put them with, the current players, who are your better ambassadors?
You know, there's a variety of guys, honestly. I'd hate to single out some of them. We have a lot, and that's kind of what I was just complimenting our team. I think there's a lot of really good guys, and you know, I've talked about that a lot, but I just love and appreciate our team and the culture that we have, and we're not perfect, and there's some things I'd like to do better this year, and you know, recommit to certain things, if you will, and you know, there's things we all got to do, but I appreciate them, and you know, they're locked in, and they're very good with this. This gets to be a little bit of a difficult time. They're ready for a break too. You know, they've been here a long time. And they practice, and everybody leaves, all their friends leave, and campus is empty, and they're sitting here practicing, and they've been very good and very committed, and I appreciate that from them, and they'll get a little break now that they deserve, and then we got to get back down there and you know, get refocused and go compete to win a football game. You know, anytime you're playing a game, as you know, I think Kenneth mentioned, and all of our players, I mean, we're there to compete, we're there to win. You know, we have a game to play. We're not taking that game just to go show up down there. You know, they don't need any more gifts. They don't need any more gear. They don't need any more shirts and t-shirts and sweats and shoes. You know, let's go play to win.
Mark, you mentioned you were waiting on a potential running back addition earlier. Do you have any other wiggle room with other positions?
Did I say that? Okay. I caught myself too.
Is there another position out there that you may save?
There's players out there that can't make that same mistake twice. There's players. There's players that we're looking to still reel in. All right.
If I could?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
You too.